so much, friends. I want this to be as conversational and interactive as possible. I don't have like a prepared spiel. If anything, I have a couple of bullets that I want to make sure that you take away from this. But if we've never met before, if you've never been in any of my sessions before, please introduce yourself again inside of the chat. Let me know who you are. Let me know where you are. And then I also want to know for all of you, what is the first word that comes to mind when you think of social media? Like, what is the word that is living in your brain right now for how you feel about social media in this particular season of your life? And then, show of hands, if you've ever felt personally victimized by a social media platform. Show of hands, if you've ever felt overwhelmed by social media.
Mhm.
Show of hands, if you have ever opened up your phone and been like, oh my God, that's what I look like in the camera, right? Okay. If you've never worked with me before, coached with me before, seen me in a session before, we have a couple of rules. And sometimes that's different from the rules of the actual group that you're a part of. For me, you got to turn your camera on. As long as you are safely able to do so, meaning you're not driving, as long as there are no naked children in the background, you have to have your camera on. When you have your camera on, there's some subtext to that. No blurred backgrounds, no fake backgrounds, no green screens. Let's talk about it. Why, Giselle, why is that a rule? But Giselle, I don't look good today. But Giselle, I feel sick. But Giselle, I feel ugly today. That does not matter. Of all the places for you to be able to practice showing up on camera, which you should be doing on a daily basis, this is how you practice. Just making video a part of your everyday, seeing your face, having the accountability of that is what you beautifully and perfectly look like today. It's by having that camera turned on. And if you're in this group of people who love you and support you, and they want you to do well, and they love you in those imperfect moments, this is the best place to practice. And when it comes to that blurred background, but Giselle, isn't this more professional? But Giselle, my home is messy. But Giselle, I'm not anywhere as cool as you are. I'm in my messy hotel room and I am in my pajama pants. Okay. All right. This is a safe place, but also I want you to recognize, where are you putting filters in your life? I want you to write that down for me right now, because even if you're doing social media and you're doing video and consistently, where are you adding barriers for entry, barriers for connection, barriers for someone to not to be able to get to know you? And you guys are in the business of real estate. Please tell me, why in the world would I let you inside of my home if you won't even let me inside of yours? There is something that does not register with our brains when we see that blur or when we see that filter, where I know some of you are using the Zoom filter. Some of you might not even know that you have it turned on. And you don't even realize the ways in which you're actually muting the connection that you could potentially be creating with someone who you don't know yet. And right now, friends, we got trust issues. The last time I was here, we had trust issues, but now we have trust issues in the form of court cases. All right. Anybody watch the news lately? A lot of people, actually, most people have no idea what's going on inside the courts. I'm just going to be honest with you. Most people have no idea. But what they do know is stuff like Zillow and Realtor.com and Rentals.com, where they go, I could just do this all myself. That's really what it is. I could just do this all myself. And I'll be honest with you, my parents, who are in their 70s, wanted to put up one of their homes for rental. And I was like, Mom, don't do it yourself. You have no idea what you're doing. Let's call one of the real estate agents that I know. And I called three people who I know, love, and adore, and have either worked with or are friends with. And I called them. And even on the phone, friends, these people could not articulate what it is that they could do that I could not. And by the way, that has nothing to do with their skills, because as their coach, I had to be like, friend, I'm going to be honest with you on this phone call. If I was not me and if I did not know you, I would not work with you. I would go post the listing myself. And so I need you all to understand how you need to create trust from the jump. And what's more important than just your confidence and your videos and your social media and your systems is knowing your value. And I want you to write that down. I want you to know your value. And I want you to understand that when we use these tools like social media and video, and when we communicate, a lot of it is actually practicing how you explain your value. I know with 100% certainty that I am a better coach and a better speaker and a better communicator because I've had to use stories with a 60-second bumper or reels or TikToks with at one point it was 60 and then now it's 90-second bumper, where I have to be concise. I have to get my point across and still leave someone wanting more. And so it is so important that even if you're like, Giselle, I'm still not ready for social media, or especially if you are in 2024, know your value. What is it that you can do that your client could not? What is it that you could do that your client could not? Because if all you're saying is, well, I have great social media, I have great videos, what does that mean? Are you on LinkedIn? Are you on Instagram? Are you posting information? Are you posting house tours? Oh, you have a great database. What does that mean? Do you have friends? So do I. What's so different about your database that's different from mine? Do you have referral partners who are in a specific region or neighborhood or outside state? Do you know vendors who specialize in custom builds? Do you speak Spanish? Do you speak French? Are you going to have a newsletter that goes out to hundreds of thousands of people? Is your organization going to put me in the local newspaper? What does network mean? Are you going to hold open houses? And if you do, what's different from me putting a for sale by owner sign on my property where anybody who wants to come and see it can just make an appointment? How are you communicating your value? How are you, when you say we have the best marketing ever, our organization is known for marketing, because at least internally, that's absolutely the reputation that you all have. But what does that mean? Most people don't know the difference between marketing and advertising. I would be willing to bet that there are people on this call who don't know the difference between marketing and advertising. And if you're brave enough to raise your hand, totally fine. Don't worry, I'm going to go into it. But if not, I'll just let you know. Marketing is what represents you all the time, no matter what. So it is your website, it is your social media, it is your brand logo design. Advertising is what happens when you put money behind that marketing. What happens when you put dollars behind that marketing? And Elias and I were just at Inman in New York, and there was a speaker who went on before me, and it was really awesome. This guy gave the audience five, he let them vote on what they were going to focus the topic on. He said, I'm going to give you ChatGPT prompts. You get to vote on what we give you prompts for. And so it's not like he actually had 5 presentations ready. He just had 5 slides ready with prompts on them. But this is what he asked the audience. He said, okay, do you want 5 newsletter prompts? Do you want 5 TikTok hooks? Do you want a whole social media plan for 30 days? Do you want effective ad prompts? Do you want, I don't remember what the 5th one was, but by and large, I'm watching the votes come in, because he had this little graph on this screen where you could vote in real time. And I saw the ads one go up and up and up and up and up, and it was significantly higher than everybody else. And even though I know that you as a group, if you've been here for a minute, that your group preaches, let's do organic, let's build those relationships, there's a point here. And that is, I'm watching the ads go up and up and up. And I had to have this very real conversation with the audience after the presentation without making it weird, to say, listen, as your coach, that might be what you want. And those ads prompts might be really, really effective. But truth be told, 99% of you are not ready for ads. 99% of you are not ready for ads. What does that have to do with you? Giselle, I'm not running ads. Who cares? Okay, a couple of things. Number one, what that told me is that oftentimes we as adults just want to be able to throw money at a problem, especially once we start making the money. I just want to pay for it. Just make it go away. Just make it better. Just make it easy. Okay. Those who are going to make it into 2024, especially in the real estate space, They are not the ones who are just trying to make everything easier maybe, but they know that they have to put in the work first. So I want you to write down and commit. I'm ready to put in the work. I'm ready to put in the work. In fact, everybody, I want you to unmute yourselves. Let's all unmute. Let's make this commitment together in front of everybody right now. And I want you to repeat after me. I'm ready to put in the work. I'm ready to put in the work.
I'm ready to put in the work.
Put in the work.
Ready to put in the work.
I'm ready to put in the work.
Ready to put in the work.
I'm ready to put in the work.
I'm ready to put in the work.
Let's go.
Amen.
Putting in the work.
Woo! I love it. And so what's so important about that is recognizing that just because the work looks different for me and looks different for you doesn't mean that neither one of us is working hard. I might have started first. You might have just gotten started. I heard a couple people that were like, I'm putting in the work. I hear you. And I love you. I love you. And I want to simply remind you that just because your hard and my hard look different doesn't mean that we're all working hard. In fact, it's really never supposed to be easy. That's the other piece about this. It's never supposed to be easy, because once you get to that easy point, you should be taking on something else where perhaps you're working so hard that you can spend more time with your family. Well, then you got to put in the work with your family. You got to take on that role as dad, or you got to take on that role and work hard to relax or work hard to make the vacation plans. You still got to put in the work. And I think this idea of just being able to take a magic pill, those are the ones where I'm like, if that's you, great, get out the room. And let's make room for the ones who are willing to work, because those are the people who I want to have around me. And part of social media, part of video is it's not supposed to be easy, because you're constantly learning about your people, you're constantly connecting, and then you're updating and you're upgrading and you're adapting and you're re-collaborating. And there are a few things that I want to address right now, which is, yes, there are new features, and we're going to talk about some of those new features that are so important. But I also want to recognize that I've now been creating and studying online video content for 15 years. Okay, 15. That's longer than TikTok has been in existence. And the advice that I was giving 15 years ago, the advice that I was having to take 15 years ago because your girl was green and vanilla and trying to be everybody but her on video, it's still the same as what I'm giving today, even down to the editing. I unfortunately, one of my biggest regrets is that I deleted some of my earliest YouTube videos. So if you're in that place right now and you're so embarrassed and you're cringing at some of your older videos, my advice is archive it or screen record it before you delete it, or don't delete it, because I wish, oh my God, now that I'm on the other side, I wish I had it. But if you look at some of my older videos, even the ones that are 7 or 10 years old, I'm doing jump cuts. The difference is that it looks like this, the hamburger way, not the hot dog way. It's horizontal, not vertical. But I'm still doing it. I'm still using hooks. I'm still thinking of my world as a playlist. And so we really want to think of everything but what it actually takes, and it's personal attention and keeping that attention.